It's our declaration of economic independence.
Now at noon, new tariffs on all imported goods to the U.S. now in effect. We're tracking the impact on Wall Street and local industries. Plus, severe storms and tornadoes cut through the Midwest and the South. How a couple in Nashville escaped injury after a tree fell on their house. And then later, the city of Portland debating whether or not to get rid of an AI-driven tool that lets landlords set prices. KGW News at noon starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Carney, and we start this afternoon with the fallout from President Trump's latest round of tariffs, 24 hours after he announced them on what he called Liberation Day. Wall Street is feeling the impact of yesterday's news, the stock market tumbling right out of the gate this morning, with the broad market index down almost 4%, putting it on track for its worst day since September of 2022. Nike and its Beaverton-based world headquarters among the hardest hit companies, down 12%. Some U.S. trade partners have already said they'll respond. Canada announced today that it plans to match tariffs of 25% on most U.S. auto imports into Canada. NBC's Peter Alexander brings us the latest on this story from Washington, D.C.
A historic escalation with President Trump launching his largest tariffs yet. And overnight, many countries vowing to respond after the president took his trade fight to nearly every nation in the world.
It's our declaration of economic independence.
In a flag-draped Rose Garden ceremony, the president announcing an across-the-board minimum 10% tariff on all trading partners except Canada and Mexico that already pay more. The tax on imports affecting everything from clothing and computers to TVs and toys. The president also imposing additional reciprocal tariffs on dozens of countries the White House says are ripping the U.S. off most.
That means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple.
China now facing a staggering new 34% tariff on its goods, on top of a 20% tariff already levied, and a 20% import tax on all products from the European Union. Those new 25% tariffs on imported vehicles also now in effect. And the president also ending exceptions for taxes on cheaper goods mailed into the U.S. that could mean higher costs for fans of retailers like Shein and Temu. The White House saying it's targeting the drug trade from China. The Treasury Secretary yesterday urging other countries not to fight back.
Do not retaliate. Sit back. Take it in.
But overnight, China and the European Union warning they could take countermeasures against the United States. The president insisting his tariffs will return jobs and factories to American soil.
We will supercharge our domestic industrial base.
But many economists say the president's actions are certain to cost consumers. The Business Roundtable, made up of some of the top U.S. CEOs, warning the new tariffs risk causing major harm to American manufacturers, workers, families, and exporters. But some farmers believe short-term economic pain is worth it.
I don't think we do have a lot to lose. I think we only have something to gain.
Again, that was NBC's Peter Alexander reporting for us this afternoon. Meanwhile, local businesses also bracing for the fallout of these new tariffs. KGW's Alma McCarty spoke with a contractor in the construction industry who says it may take a year before we see the full impact.
From electronics to automobiles, coffee to clothing, new tariffs are likely to mean higher prices in dozens of industries.
It will interrupt the ability for us to get the materials that we need to actually do the work.
Mike Salzgiver is the CEO of the local Associated General Contractors chapter, which represents commercial contractors building everything from high-rises to highways.
All the big stuff.
The industry is reliant on foreign imports for much of their materials. Salzgiver says contractors who are still feeling the effects of the pandemic will now face more disruption and delays.
I've been around this industry a long time, and my biggest worry is that what is being communicated to the public as wanting to be helpful will actually have the opposite effect.
While the president touted his new plan as a new golden age for America, bringing back manufacturing and jobs to the United States, some experts aren't so sure.
We haven't seen a trade policy where you're putting up barriers that has promoted growth.
Dr. Brian Adams is a professor of finance at the University of Portland. He explains it won't be immediately possible for industries to shift to American-made products.
The logistics of moving manufacturing from a foreign country into the U.S. is not something that can be done over the short run. It generally takes years for that to happen.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
We'll have more coverage on the impact of the president's new tariffs on the financial market coming up later this afternoon on KGW News at 4 o'clock. You can also find our latest local headlines anytime at KGW.com and on our streaming TV app, that is KGW+. All right, before we get to our local forecast, severe storms and tornadoes in the Midwest and southern part of the U.S. have caused major damage and also killed at least 6 people, 5 in Tennessee and 1 in Missouri. A couple in the Nashville area managed to escape injury, even though a tree fell on their home.
Our bedroom is right there, 2 feet further east, and it would have taken out, it would have got him because he was in the bed.
This was also caught on camera last night. What appeared to be a tornado touching down in Arkansas. Once daylight hit this morning, residents there were able to see the full scope of the damage. And as we check in with Rod now in the Weather Center, Rod, you were telling me just a few minutes ago, this is not over yet.
No, and the main concern, it looks like as we get rolling into the weekend, is going to shift to a flooding concern. Now, here's where that storm line is right now. The reports, there were just shy of 24 tornadoes with the reports that Drew was telling you about and showing you the damage. There was also baseball or near baseball size hail was the way the Weather Service worded it in storm reports from Arkansas and Indiana. But you can see there's rain back in Texas, storms blowing up in central Missouri at this hour, and then a storm line across Kentucky. But moisture is going to continue to channel along these storms, and there is concern that with rain continuing to move into the same areas, what they call training, kind of storms like a train track, just hitting the same areas. Continuing into the weekend, there could be rain amounts reach as high as 6, 7, 8, 9 inches. Anytime you get over 6 inches in a 24, 30-hour period, you've got significant problems, and that could be fairly widespread. All right, so back at home, we're quiet. Here's a system out to sea. We're kind of in between, and we're trying to break out to some sunshine. Here's the Chehalem Tasting Room camera. Beautiful country setting, but not much sun. It's a little brighter from the Oregon Garden camera in Silverton at the resort there, looking out over the valley, and just a few breaks in the cloud cover over downtown. We are warming. We're at 52. We think we're going to continue to get a little bit more sun as we go through the day, Drew, and get up to about 59. Back to you, sir.
All right, Rob, we'll check back in with you in about 10 minutes. Right now, we want to get back to some local headlines, starting with this. The suspect accused of fatally stabbing a man near a Northeast Portland hotel pleaded not guilty this morning to multiple charges, including murder and assault. That stabbing happened 2 weeks ago inside a hotel near the airport. Police arrested 42-year-old Mitch Schoonover 5 days later, and investigators also identified the victim as 26-year-old Drew Hayden Courtwright. Schoonover will be back in court on May 16th. A 68-year-old FedEx worker says she's thankful to be alive after a dog attacked her on her way to work in Northeast Portland. We also want to warn you that some of the pictures in this story show her injuries in graphic detail. Last week, Giovanni Johnson says she was walking from her car to her office at 7th and Broadway when a dog latched onto her leg and wouldn't let go. She said the attack continued for more than 5 minutes, and even though the dog's owner, who appeared to be homeless, saw what was happening, they never did anything, she says, to stop it.
I was thinking, I don't want to lose my leg, and I want someone to help me, because the more he keeps chopping, the more I feel my leg and my foot going numb. And I mean, I had to call 911 for myself.
You keep hearing these stories over and over again, and now I'm dealing with it with my mother, and it's not fair. It's not fair.
Giovanni has undergone 3 surgeries to save her injured leg. Multnomah County Animal Services has the dog at this point and is working to classify it as dangerous.
We've made sweeping changes to the people, processes, and overall structure of our company.
U.S. senators grilled Boeing CEO yesterday, asking him what the company has done to improve safety. Kelly Ortberg vowed to overhaul Boeing's culture and put safety first. The last several years have been turbulent ones for the company, to say the least, with safety failures dating back to the deadly 737 MAX 8 crashes in 2018 and 2019. Boeing is also in the process of renegotiating its plea deal in the criminal trial for those 2 crashes.
Boeing cannot take the criminal case to trial. They've already basically confessed when they agreed to plead guilty.
The federal judge set a June trial date if a new deal isn't reached.